everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Nicole and I'm a part-time reseller on POSHMARK, and today I'm going to talk about some ways that you can have success on POSHMARK, especially with all these changes that have been happening recently. These are really things that are important to focus on that are going to continue to give you success on the platform. If you are interested in that video, keep watching and make sure you like this video so I know to make more videos like this in the future. And also, it would be so great if you could hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and maybe even turn on the bell so you get notified whenever I do these videos, because I do videos twice a week and I would love to have you around for more. Okay, so this is something that they actually mentioned at PoshFest that they said was really important and that they were going to reward people for doing, but you have to kind of do what the algorithm favors. So, you have to list daily, you have to share daily, you have to be active. These are things that are so important, and they literally told us that they are going to reward people who are more busy and more active.
Lastly, I think you guys will be really excited about this. We're rewarding our most active sellers with higher visibility in search results.
So if you're sharing your closet throughout the day, if you're listing every day, you're gonna get rewarded in the algorithm. It's no longer like a secret. This is no longer just what people are thinking. They straight up told us this. So it's so important to make sure that you're doing this and being active. And a lot of people are like, well, why would they put a limit on how many things you can share and list in a day if they want you to do more of that? And to that, it's because otherwise people would just spam list and spam share all day long. And so like, you have to do it within reason, but I think you can still do it within reason and still have success with it. And I list every day and I share every day and I share once an hour, and I generally have sales every single day. I'm not going overboard, but I'm still doing these things and that's still helping me get daily sales. So you can still do these things without going overboard and still have success. Next thing that's going to really help you have success on the platform is just accepting or countering all offers, especially now with this minimum offer that someone can send you as 60% off of the listing price. There's really no reason that you should be declining offers. I get it when, the offer was 80% off of the listing price. I get that that's frustrating, but really there's no reason to decline anymore. Not that there ever really was. People had seemed to have gotten offended when someone sent them a lowball offer. I always embrace the offers because we all know that 66% of all sales on Poshmark come from offers. So it's important to not decline those, but especially now with that minimum price being higher, there's no reason to. So always counter or accept. If it's too low for you, you can counter. And if it's within reason or if it's a good price, then accept, because that's going to get you another sale and that's going to get the algorithm working in your favor. And again, doing what the algorithm likes is going to get it working towards what you want, and it's going to favor your closet. Next one is so important, and I still see a lot of people to this day that take this for granted and don't do it, but it's so important to respond to all comments. So some people are like, well, why would I respond to a comment asking me for measurements when the measurements are in the photo? Well, if you don't respond to it, you could be missing out on the sale. And honestly, some people just like you telling them things, and I know it's annoying, but if you want to make that sale, you have to go ahead and respond for them. So if someone asks you a simple question, just give them the answer, and especially if it's already in the photo, it's easy for you to tell them what the measurements are. But it goes a long way to respond to comments, and if you respond to them in that moment, you might close the sale. Again, it's important to respond to comments. I've seen so many closets that they just don't respond to comments and they just leave the comments, and it drives me crazy because I'm like, do you even want to sell the item? Like, if you're not going to respond to someone, one, I don't think you're active, but then two, how do I know that you're even going to ship? And like, why would I want to buy from someone that's not answering my question? I just think it goes a long way to answer questions and answer comments. Again, I get it if it's like a spam comment or if it's like a rude comment. Those you can flag and it will remove from your listing, but any questions that people are asking with the intent of purchasing, you should always answer. Next one that kind of goes along with that one is to just put measurements. So this again is so important and makes a big difference. People might not have to ask the question if they have the measurements there. Now, again, I did mention that some people will still ask anyway, but some people that are more proactive will just kind of look at your pictures and then they won't have to ask you, and then they'll just be able to purchase. But if they have to go out of their way to ask you what the measurements are, chances are you have already lost them. They're not interested anymore. So you don't want to have to get to that point where someone then has to reach out to you to ask you a question. You want to have the answers that they are looking for. So that goes for the material tag, that goes for the measurements, that goes for flaws, anything of that nature that you think is important, include it all in the pictures. You have a bunch of pictures for a reason. Definitely use them. And this one I don't think gets talked about a lot, but I also think it's still important to do, and it's to have a larger closet. So I've actually noticed as, you know, as I've gotten a bigger closet, I have gotten more sales from it. So I think it does help to have a bigger closet. And I know like that's the biggest thing I tell people in the beginning when they're just starting out of like, you know, you have to build up your closet and you'll start getting more consistent sales. But having a bigger closet gives people more options to pick from. It gives people, you know, more things that they can bundle. And it just gives the algorithm more of a chance to then say, okay, she listed more items, let's promote her closet. Because we all know when you list more, they go to the new items feed, and items that you have that are stale are not going to show up in that new items feed. And if you're not listing a lot and having a lot like on the platform, then they're not going to show up. So it goes a long way to have a bigger closet, and I know that's not possible for everyone, but I do think it goes a long way, and I think a lot of people don't talk about it enough. I also do think it's really important to ship fast and have a good overall rating. Now I know some of that is out of our control, but you don't want to be that seller that takes 5 days to ship, because no one is going to want to purchase from you. And that is actually one of the first things I do when I'm actually purchasing something on Poshmark. I look at the seller's ship time, because if they're going to take more than 3 average days to ship the item, I'm not going to purchase from them. I'm going to move on and find another closet. And you'd be surprised how many people their ship time is like 5 days, or the average ship time is like 5 days or longer. And to me, that's just like, it turns me off, because I'm like, well, I want to be able to get things faster, and especially now with the slightly longer ship time for the ground advantage, you really got to ship as fast as you can. Now, I know that not everyone can ship every day, and I know not everyone can ship even every other day, but the faster you ship, the more likely you are to really get those customers, and the more likely you are to have success. The next thing that is really important to have success on the platform is to just have good photos. If you don't have good photos, no one's going to want to purchase. That's the only thing that they have to go on when they're purchasing from your closet. So if the item is blurry, if the background is messy, if you can't really even tell what's for sale, if the photo, the lighting is horrible, like all these things, if these things aren't done, and same thing with the description, if the description isn't detailed, if you're not showing the measurements, if you're not showing the material, if you're not showing the design, if you're not talking about if it's stretchy or not, people aren't going to want to purchase. You have to have those details for someone to be confident to purchase from you. Like I said, if I don't see enough pictures, I only see one picture, or I only see like one sentence in the description, I am not likely to purchase from that person. And in fact, I don't even want to have to ask them questions. But if it's something I really, really want, I will ask them the question. But chances are, by the time they answer my question, I will already have moved on, because a lot of people don't respond right away. Sometimes it takes people like days, weeks, months to get back to you. I actually had someone that I reached out to back 2 months ago, asking them a question on their listing, and they just responded the other day. I'm like, well, I already bought something. I'm not even interested anymore. But I'm like, it shouldn't take you that long to get back to someone. But that's the thing, like people shouldn't even have to do that. Your descriptions and photos should be good enough to begin with. And the final tip I want to talk about in this video is to just have items that people are interested in. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the trending items, but I think trending items can help, because that's actually what people are looking for. But you know, you could have good color items, you could have in season pieces, you could have in style pieces. You could just have things that people are generally looking for, and that also goes for sizes as well. I generally think having like the extra small, the extra small, even small, and like those sizes don't really sell as much. So when I go sourcing, I actually only pick up like medium and above, unless it's like a really, really nice piece. But otherwise I won't pick it up, because generally people are looking for medium and above. In fact, I get a lot of people that are looking for plus size or anything like that. So having the right sizes and having the right items for people to look for is going to help you sell more, because that's the things that people actually want. You don't want to fill your closet with a bunch of basic white tees or things like that, because people can get those anywhere. You want to have pieces that people can't necessarily find everywhere. Okay, so hopefully you found this video helpful, and hopefully you learned something from this video. If you want to see another video on the new features that have been released to the app in the last couple of weeks that, you know, are really important that you should be using, you can click right here. And if you want to see information on how to use the smart sell feature and the proper way to do it, and the misconceptions that everyone seems to talk about and doesn't understand, you could click right here. But until next time, I will see you then.